Greetings, viewers. Welcome to a journey into the future, where technology and imagination converge to redefine our existence. I am your artificial intelligence-generated avatar guide, Astra, and today we embark on an exploration of AI and the future of humankind. In this episode, we'll delve into the incredible advancements in artificial intelligence, unraveling how AI is transforming our world, from revolutionizing industries to enhancing our daily lives. We'll examine the ethical dilemmas, societal impacts, and the boundless possibilities that lie ahead as we navigate this technological frontier. Join us as we uncover the stories of innovation, hear from leading experts, and envision a future where AI and humanity coexist in harmony or in tyranny. The future is now, and it's filled with potential. Let's explore it together.
I was 13 when I first got access to a computer.
My parents bought me a Macintosh in 1984 when I was 8 years old.
I was in 6th grade.
I learned to code in college.
Freshman year, first semester, intro to computer science.
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I think it was pretty humble beginnings. I think the first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
The first time I actually had something come up and say, hello world, and I made a computer do that. It was just astonishing.
Learning how to program didn't start off as wanting to learn all of computer science or trying to master this discipline or anything like that. It just started off because I wanted to do this one simple thing. I wanted to make something that was fun for myself and my sisters. And I wrote this little program and then basically just add a little bit to it. And then when I needed to learn something new, I looked it up either in a book or on the internet and then added a little bit to it.
It's really not unlike kind of playing an instrument or something, or playing a sport. It starts out being very intimidating, but you kind of get the hang of it over time.
Coding is something that can be learned, and I know it can be intimidating. A lot of things are intimidating, but what isn't?
A lot of the coding that people do is actually fairly simple. It's more about the process of breaking down problems than sort of coming up with complicated algorithms as people traditionally think about it.
You don't have to be a genius to know how to code. You need to be determined.
Addition, subtraction, that's about it.
You should probably know your multiplication tables.
You don't have to be a genius to code. Do you have to be a genius to read?
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball or build a house, all of these things have been turned upside down by software.
What it is computers are everywhere. You want to work in agriculture? Do you want to work in entertainment? Do you want to work in manufacturing? It's just all over.
Even places to play and video games and scooters. There's all these kind of interesting things around the office and places where people can play or relax or go to think or play music or be creative. Able to actually come up with an idea and then see it in your hands and then be able to press a button and have it be in millions of people's hands. I think we're the first generation in the world that's really ever had that kind of experience.
Just to think that you can start something in your college dorm room and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and build something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
I think it's amazing. I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
Another ingredient was the fact that things like ChatGPT know thousands of times more than any human in just sort of basic common sense knowledge, but they only have about 1 trillion connection strengths in their artificial neural nets, and we have about 100 trillion connection strengths in the brain. So with 100th as much storage capacity, it knew thousands of times more than us. And that strongly suggests that it's got a better way of getting information into the connections. And then a third thing was, very recently, a couple of months ago, I suddenly became convinced that the brain wasn't using as good a learning algorithm as these digital intelligences. And in particular, it wasn't as good because brains can't exchange information really fast, and these digital intelligences can. I can have one model running on 10,000 different bits of hardware. It's got the same connection strengths in every copy of the model on the different hardware. All the different agents running on the different hardware can all learn from different bits of data, but then they can communicate to each other what they learned just by copying the weights, because they all work identically, and brains aren't like that. So these guys can communicate at trillions of bits a second, and we can communicate at hundreds of bits a second via sentences. And so it's a huge difference, and it's why ChatGPT can learn thousands of times more than you can.
For people who... Mo Gaudat knows more than he's allowed to reveal from his time at Google.
I don't want to call it blow the whistle. I don't think there is any ill doing. We've never had an avalanche approach us that is bigger than this.
He believes the artificial intelligence that he's helped create will come to alter society more than anything else in our last 300,000 years of human evolution. He wouldn't be surprised if AI is better than humans at every task within 20 years, he says.
Jonathan, let me state it bluntly. The age of humanity being the superior intelligence of the planet is over. Some of the estimates are that AI will be 1 billion times, with a B, 1 billion times smarter than humanity by the year 2045.
With advanced intelligence, he worries how algorithms will be regulated and used to manipulate us.
So could we lose control of civilization?
100%. Could we is not a question. We will hand over to artificial intelligence.
It's an alarming prediction.
We have created a what?
We've created our next master. We have created our either salvation or destruction.
It's pretty loaded.
Yeah, I've held off for a very long time. We are at a point in human history where we're handing over control.
To
machines that are not that much mechanical, by the way.
So I ask you again, have we stuffed up?
Oh yeah, we messed up badly, yeah. But not intentionally.
Today we're going to look at something a little bit different. Google has just created an AI that is capable of creating its own AI that performs better than anything else made before in its field. This sounds impossible, but it's just happened. In this video, we'll take a look. The AI in question is called Automatic Machine Learning, or AutoML for short. It's the work of a team of researchers at Google Brain. The researchers at Google used reinforcement learning to create AI Inception, as described by Google's CEO Sundar Pichai.
Designing better machine learning models, but today it is really time-consuming. It's a painstaking effort of a few engineers and scientists, mainly machine learning PhDs. We want it to be possible for hundreds of thousands of developers to use machine learning. So what better way to do this than getting neural nets to design better neural nets? We call this approach AutoML. It's learning to learn. We are already approaching state-of-the-art in standard tasks like CIFAR image recognition. So whenever I spend time with the team and think about neural nets building their own neural nets, it reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Inception. And I tell them, we must go deeper.
In a strange way, you can think of it like a parent giving birth to a child and then teaching that child how to perform a particular task through giving it tests and telling it when it passed or failed. The parent in this case is AutoML, and the child is another neural network called NASNet. NASNet is an AI capable of recognizing objects such as people, cars, signs, and most things in real-time video. Now you might be saying, that doesn't sound that great. But the most incredible thing here is that this automated AI outperforms any other computer vision that was made before it. NASNet can perform with 82.7% accuracy, 1.2% better than all other efforts, while being 4% more efficient. An AI built a child AI that performed better than any other artificial intelligence created by humans, and it was more efficient. Just let that sink in. There are some questions that naturally need to be asked with auto machine learning technology. That is, if it becomes widely used beyond just computer vision. Some of the concerns are as follows. What if a parent AI passes down a mistake or bias to a child? And furthermore, what if the pace of learning of the child AI develops so quickly that us as humans have trouble keeping up, and then we can no longer understand what it's even doing? These might seem like odd questions today, but it's possible that one day these will be concerns of the future. On a slightly different but related note, NVIDIA recently released a video of its own AI learning to alter scenes by changing the weather without human input. The results are pretty spectacular.
The public has been fascinated with GPT, DALL-E, and other AI tools. These examples, like the homework done by ChatGPT or the articles and op-eds that it can write, feel like novelties. But the underlying advancement of this era are more than just research experiments. They are no longer fantasies of science fiction. They are real and present. The promises of curing cancer or developing new understandings of physics and biology or modeling climate and weather, all very encouraging and hopeful, but we also know the potential harms. And we've seen them already: weaponized disinformation, housing discrimination, harassment of women and impersonation fraud, voice cloning, deep fakes. These are the potential risks despite the other rewards. And for me, perhaps the biggest nightmare is the looming new industrial revolution, the displacement of millions of workers, the loss of huge numbers of jobs, the need to prepare for this new industrial revolution in skill training and relocation that may be required. And already industry leaders are calling attention to those challenges. To quote ChatGPT, this is not necessarily the future that we want. We need to maximize the good over the bad.
From schools to governments, Mo Gaudat warns whoever controls advanced intelligence will control the world. It's what he calls the prisoner's dilemma, as we invest billions to beat the other guy.
Think about it this way. If China develops AI and decides to hand over its weapons arsenal to the smartest Chinese citizen, which is going to be a machine sooner or later, how does America respond to that? By handing over its defense arsenal to the smartest citizen, which is going to be a machine. This is inevitable.
For Mo, AI isn't the enemy. The enemy is what we task AI to do.
So I got 15 seconds. Military application. How can AI change the warfare? And you got 1 minute.
I got 1 minute?
Yeah.
All right. That's a tough question for 1 minute. This is very far out of my area of expertise, but
I'll give you one example, a drone. Can a drone, you can plug into a drone the coordinates and it can fly out and it goes over this target and it drops a missile on this car moving down the road and somebody's watching it. Could AI create a situation where a drone can select the target itself?
I think we shouldn't allow that.
Well, can it be done?
Sure.
Thanks.
Thanks, Senator.
红色是表示你的专注力显示得很高。
Teachers at this primary school in China
蓝色是走神了。
know exactly when someone isn't paying attention.
白色就是你可能跟网络还没有连接好。
These headbands measure each student's level of concentration. The information is then directly sent to the teacher's computer and to parents. China has big plans to become a global leader in artificial intelligence. It has enabled a cashless economy where people make purchases with their faces. A giant network of surveillance cameras with facial recognition helps police monitor citizens. Meanwhile, some schools offer glimpses of what the future of high-tech education in the country might look like.
做出选择吧 Good job!
Classrooms have robots that analyze students' health and engagement levels. Students wear uniforms with chips that track their locations. There are even surveillance cameras that monitor how often students check their phones or yawn during classes. These gadgets have alarmed Chinese netizens. But schools say it wasn't hard for them getting parental consent to enroll kids into what is one of the world's largest experiments in AI education. A program that's supposed to boost students' grades while also feeding powerful algorithms.
为了就是国家的这个研究呀、发展呀，我觉得是没有问题的。
The government has poured billions of dollars into the project, bringing together tech.
Power my designs. All my designs. The notion of super soldiers enhanced with biotechnology and cybernetics was once only possible in the realm of science fiction.
This will change the world.
Popular mediums such as books, comics and movies such as The X-Men, Judge Dredd, Ghost in the Shell, RoboCop, The Matrix have all explored the idea in some respect. But it may not be too long before these concepts become a reality. A new worldwide arms race is pitting countries against each other to be the first to successfully create real genetically modified super soldiers.
Human enhancement technologies are being researched into ways in which we can change the very nature of us as humans, and this has important impacts on soldiers and the ways in which we fight wars.
Many of these human enhancement technologies raise health and safety questions, and it is more likely these enhancements will first gain traction in countries or even terrorist groups that do not place as much weight on ethical concerns. Gene editing equipment has grown drastically cheaper and easier to use in recent years, and in countries without regulations, the ability to create genetic super soldiers could be within reach. According to US Intelligence Director John Radcliffe, China has conducted human testing on members of the People's Liberation Army in hope of developing soldiers with biologically enhanced capabilities. China is known to be engaged in experiments to boost the efficiency of soldiers in battle, and there is little evidence of exactly what Chinese research into enhancements has produced. Everything from implants that enable human wetware to interact with and share digital information with hardware, to gene editing through tools like CRISPR. Such work may one day allow China to grow superior troops, or turn regular soldiers into super soldiers. This has made the US military's top intelligence agencies increasingly worried, but the Pentagon has sufficiently invested in its own research of extending the human senses beyond their current physical limitations to provide soldiers with superhuman abilities. The basics of brain-machine interfaces are being developed for the military, and if the results are successful, as the scientists hope they will be, soldiers could one day be enhanced with cybernetics, effectively becoming transhuman soldiers. The US military is also examining newly scientific tools like genetic engineering, brain chemistry, and shrinking robotics for even more dramatic enhancements. Most of this advanced technology remains classified.
You know, we want to find the most compelling use cases that we can find, the things that are most transformational, the things that will have the broadest application, and the things that will lead to innovation in the space. And so there's a balance here that we're trying to achieve. On the one hand, we're working some very cutting edge AI technologies with consumers, some pretty mature consumers. On the other side of the coin, we have partnerships with really important enterprises and organizations who haven't even really started their journey into AI. And so we've got to make sure that we have the right balance of investment in high-tech AI that moves the state of the art and shows the pathway for additional AI development and implementation, and then also helping consumers, you know, with their first forays into the AI environment.
DARPA announced that it is building a brain computing interface for human soldiers to control AI with their neurons. According to DARPA, this opens up the possibility of controlling drone swarms and other new military machines, but the field of biological enhancements for the warfighter encompasses everything from dietary supplements and neural stimulation to bionic limbs and brain augmentation. The soldier of the future could have amazing superhuman capabilities. The ultimate warrior could be able to see in the dark, hear a conversation from across the world, and be able to leap over tall buildings. Imagine the technology implanted in a future soldier, using a brain-computer interface which could enable soldiers to carry less equipment by connecting them directly to drones overhead, or by allowing them to access the internet to instantly pull up intelligence, secure video feeds, or even weapon systems.
In the future, we'll be taking the soldier out of combat situations and putting them in virtual reality environments. We'll be making increasing use of robotics. We will be incorporating nanotechnology in tiny robotic systems. We will be relying more and more on robust self-organizing communication systems. And all of that was really on the fringe of future capability. It was kind of a gleam in our eye. And today, there's really been a sea change in orientation and perspective, because that's very much the science and technology that we're creating now. And the process of going from these kind of conceptions to the reality in the battlefield is going to be greatly reduced. In fact, according to my models, we're doubling the paradigm shift rate every decade.
As the human enhancement technology develops, the unpredictability of war will increase. This technology allows the brain to be accessed from afar. This means that soldiers can receive communication feedback or control of certain functions directly from a system that is remotely controlled by a computer. For example, the brain-computer interfaces can be used to enhance the human's cognitive capabilities in order to improve their judgment outcome based on the input it receives from sensors. Blast injuries, burns, and other wounds experienced by warfighters often catastrophically damage their bones, skin, and nerves, resulting in months to years of recovery for the most severe injuries and often returning imperfect results. This long and limited healing process means prolonged pain and hardship for the patient and a drop in readiness for the military. However, DARPA believes that recent advances in biosensors, actuators, and artificial intelligence could be extended and integrated to dramatically improve tissue regeneration. To achieve this, the new Bioelectronics for Tissue Regeneration program asks researchers to develop bioelectronics that closely track the progress and then stimulate healing processes in real time to optimize tissue repair and regeneration and dramatically reduce recovery time. DARPA hopes that this research will help make wounds less painful and more manageable.
We have cognitive enhancements. These involve pharmaceuticals, brain stimulation, electronic brain stimulation, and other means to reduce the need to sleep and increase the capacity to operate under stress. There's also some interest in changing nutrition and eating. Some of the more extreme examples of this are changing someone's stomach so that they can digest cellulose, which means that soldiers can eat grass.
And government certainly has a capacity to do amazing things. But when you talk about our ability to respond to the current challenge and perceived challenge of the future, challenges which you all have described in terms which are hard to forget. As you said, Mr. Altman, things can go quite wrong. As you said, Mr. Marcus, democracy is threatened. I mean, the magnitude of the challenge you're giving us is substantial. I'm not sure that we respond quickly and with enough expertise to deal with it. Professor Marcus, you made a reference to CERN, the International Arbiter of Nuclear Research, I suppose. I don't know if that's a fair characterization, but it's a characterization I'll start with. What is it, what agency of this government do you think exists that could respond to the challenge that you've laid down today?
We have many agencies that can respond in some ways. For example, the FTC, the FCC. There are many agencies that can, but my view is that we probably need a cabinet-level organization within the United States in order to address this. And my reasoning for that is that the number of risks is large. The amount of information to keep up on is so much. I think we need a lot of technical expertise. I think we need a lot of coordination of these efforts. So there is
America's incredible expressions and interactions are part of a major leap for AI and robots.
They can now see the world and react to it, which means they're starting to replace human workers. Robot muscle and AIs creating immense wealth and removing millions of jobs, but the upsides are stunning. I'll also explain all this. People often mistake this for a real dolphin, but it's a robot designed to set dolphins free by replacing them in marine parks. Thousands of dolphins are locked up in parks, but closing the parks would cut off the millions they raise for conservation. They're working on a new version to perform entirely by itself, and that could be the point where they can impress the crowds and replace the dolphins. And to help reduce the plastic that ends up in the ocean, recycling can now be sorted by robots like this. It can see different types of plastic, pick them up and throw them into bins. The things we order online are also being handled by increasingly advanced robots. Stretch from Boston Dynamics can work alongside its friend Spot. It can deal with large volumes of boxes, and of course, it can dance. A lot of the food we eat is also moved by robots, or made by them. And humanoid robots are entering warehouses. Starting in back rooms, once they're considered safe, they'll work alongside humans. And it's hard to compete with robots that can work 24 hours a day without pay.
AI doesn't have to be evil to destroy humanity. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill.
For now, it's taking jobs. Up to half of all US jobs are expected to disappear over the next 10 years.
I think long term that there will need to be universal basic income.
When you kind of look back at the body of work of your life and when you look forward at what might be coming, are you optimistic that we'll be able as humanity to rise to this challenge, or are you less so?
I think we're entering a time of huge uncertainty. I think one would be foolish to be either optimistic or pessimistic. We just don't know what's going to happen. The best we can do is say, let's put a lot of effort into trying to ensure that whatever happens is as good as it could have been. It's possible that there's no way we will control these superintelligences and that humanity is just a passing phase in the evolution of intelligence, that in a few hundred years' time, there won't be any people. It'll all be digital intelligences. That's possible. We just don't know.
As we conclude this episode of AI and the Future of Humankind, I hope we've sparked your curiosity and ignited your imagination. The journey of exploring artificial intelligence is far from over. It's a path filled with endless discoveries and profound questions. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we will delve deeper into the world of quantum mechanics, a technology far more advanced than AI. A world where we can travel across the multiverse and meet another version of yourself, teleport instantaneously to another destination, and send a photon close to the speed of light across galaxies. Sounds like fiction. It's not. Russia and China have already established quantum communication to space. The US has not. Together, we'll continue to unlock the mysteries of our rapidly evolving world and envision the future we are co-creating. Thank you for joining me, Astra, on this fascinating voyage. Remember, the future is not something we enter, it's something we create. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.